Hello and welcome and good morning. It is Monday, the 8th of January 2024. You're watching Morning Brew on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. Hello. So welcome. We've got some people in the chat, which is great. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Brian. Hello, Jeff. So we're going to be talking about two things today, which are kind of connected. One is the obliteration of the Tory party, which is something that was spoken about by swivel-eyed Brexiteer Danny Kruger, who's no friend of ours, but even a stopped atomic clock is right once a universe. He has said that basically, the Tories are toast in the next election. The thing is, though, he's not he's not quite getting the reason why. He seems to think that it's because, I don't know, they're just not being Brexity enough or something. But the reality is that the real reality is that the Tories are about as popular as a turd at a wedding. He's saying that the Conservatives face obliteration as UK in worse state than 2010. It's very interesting that a Brexiteer would say this, because it's their fault. It's literally the fault of the Brexiteers that the economy is in the way that it is at the moment. And the reason why the UK is in a worse shape than it was in 2010 is because the economy hasn't grown since then. In the first 10 years of the last Labour government, our economy doubled. It was worth about $1.5 trillion in 1997. In 2007, it was worth $3 trillion. And it's still worth $3 trillion today. It's just flatlined for 17 years because the Tories are just that bad at their job. They have no idea how to run a country. They've got no idea how to grow an economy. They've got no idea how to do anything constructive. All Tories know how to do is make money and destroy stuff. They're like Daisy in The Great Gatsby. Daisy and her husband, whose name escapes Tom. Daisy and Tom in The Great Gatsby. That's what they're like. So he's saying that the Conservatives risk being ejected from power, yeeted into the sea, as I like to put it, having left the country sadder, less united, and less conservative than they found it. Well, do you think? Who the hell in their right mind is going to vote for these cowboys in the next election? And on top of this, we've got this bill that's going through today, which is for basically it's to allow licenses to be given out to oil and gas companies every year. So at the moment, it's every X many years, and they want to make it so that every year they can give out new licenses for oil and gas exploration in the North Sea. It's called the Offshore Petroleum Licensing Bill, and it's an absolute disgrace on every level imaginable. It's painful, absolutely painful that this is happening in our country right now, because we're facing an existential crisis. The fact is that the atmosphere is heating up faster than it's done in millions of years. Human civilization has only been around 10,000 years, a blip in the geological record. The dinosaurs, what were they around for 150 million years, were they? Before they were wiped out by an asteroid the size of Mount Everest? Yeah, well, we've created our own asteroid the size of Mount Everest, and it's made of plastic. It's made of oil. It's made of gas and coal that we are just the most stupid thing you could possibly imagine. It's like our house is burning down, and instead of putting the fire out, we're literally putting more oil on the fire. We're putting more petrol on the fire. That's what we're doing. And you're just like, oh my God, how it's not just the fact that it's just a bad idea, but it's like a sin against nature, against humanity. We're destroying the planet. We need to stop. What do the Tories do? They ban onshore wind farms, effectively. There's been no onshore major wind farms built in the last 8 years, 9 years. An effective moratorium on onshore wind farms. You've got people like that absolute fucking nana, Liz Truss, sorry for swearing, Liz Truss saying, oh, the most depressing sight in the world is a farmer's field full of solar panels. Is it? Is it, Liz? Is that the most depressing sight in the world? Jesus, you can tell a woman who's never actually been anywhere or done anything. She's just gone around taking Instagram selfies of herself holding an apple under a tree. Oh, God, she's such a weirdo. Anyway, the point being that the Tories, all they've done is obstruct the path to making the world a greener place. Now, I know Hugh in the chat a little bit earlier pointed out that we should just look at the things that we can do in terms of, fighting climate change on our level, voting Labour in the next election, getting the Tories out. But here's the thing. In the 1980s, the scientists, like the one blob, the consensus of scientists was that CFCs were causing a hole in the ozone layer above the Antarctica in particular and the southern hemisphere, including Australia. This would lead to dangerous sun beams getting through because, don't forget, without the ozone layer, the sun is a deadly laser. And basically giving everything cancer because deadly UV rays, I should say, sun rays, deadly UV rays getting through onto the planet's surface, which is not good for anyone. And Britain, the UK, this country, led the world in banning CFCs and getting them taken out of fridges and getting them taken out of aerosol cans. We did that. And I know we've done a lot of bad things in the past. And I know that the government at the time was led by bloody Margaret Thatcher, but I have to give them the due. They said, listen, there is a big problem here. And the reason why, probably, in my view, is because Thatcher, hater or hater, she had a degree in chemistry. She could read a scientific paper. This bunch of dickheads that have got in charge at the moment can't even read a newspaper. They're like comics. That's about as high as they can get. I'm not talking about Watchmen or something. I'm talking about the Beano. That's about their level. It's about their level of intellect, their level of skill. They can't read a scientific paper. If they could, they would see the thousands of scientific papers, the scientific consensus that we need to stop drilling for oil and gas. But no, the Tories are having a vote today to say, we should be able to award these contracts on a yearly basis. Now, hopefully when Labour get in, if Labour get in, touch wood, they can say, listen, we're just going to ignore that. We're just going to pretend that was, not a thing because they don't have to give out licenses if they don't want to, I assume. I don't think it's going to be obligatory. But the idea that here, midway through the 2020s, when we know and have known for the last 44 frickin' years that we need to cut down on burning fossil fuels because carbon in the ground, take carbon out ground, put carbon on ground, like carbon burns, smoke, carbon dioxide released. Millions and millions of tons of carbon dioxide released. Energy. All that energy that is locked away under the earth has been released into the atmosphere, the equivalent of something like a nuclear bomb going off every second since the signing of the Magna Carta. That's how much energy we have put into the world. It is an obscene amount of energy. And we've put that onto the planet. I mean, this isn't... I'm not a scientist. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a biologist. But you can see, can't you? I'm not a geologist. You can see the effects of this happening. We're getting more storms than ever before. We're up to our 8th named storm of this season. And they're just the ones that we've named. There's been storms that someone else has named because they saw it first. I don't know how it works. And you're just like, half of the southwest is underwater. And the Tories are like, yeah, more of this. And this, like I say on my thumbnail, it's like Rishi Sunak is saying, well, we face obliteration, so we're going to take you all with us. Nice. That's the kind of thing that we expect from our caring, sharing Tory party. Yeah. Anyway, right, so just going to jump into the chat and say hello to everyone because it's Monday. It's back to work day for a lot of people, back to school day for a lot of kids. Let's have a look. Is your notifications going out okay? I didn't get one. I'm only here because I checked the site's front page. I assume that it's going out. This should have got out at about 9:15 today. I don't know. I'll have to have a look. They change the settings all the time on YouTube, and you kind of got to keep on top of it. Sunak going scorched earth, such a nice chap. Yeah, indeed. For a time, we had less people than were willing to sleep with Peter Bone. Oh, thanks, Paul. Don't know why I read that one. Jesus. Morning, just played the Bone scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's from Colin. I'm 62 on Wednesday. How the F did that happen? That's from Hugh. Time makes a mockery of us all, I'm afraid. Wakey Graham says, Brian, I'm here. Feels like Graham is having to move wires about. Yeah, it was one of them where I started the show. You can see the little, look at that. That's not good, is it, McGreen's? I'd been editing all weekend, so I'd moved some of my stuff, and more importantly, I had moved some items on my computer, like files on my computer. And when I started the show this morning, the background had disappeared, and the little animation at the side disappeared, and all the settings were wrong. I was like, oh, Christ. But never mind. We're here now, and that's what matters. Marza Jeddah Burnside. Morning, Graham and all. Did you see the story of the Spanish woman deported at Luton? Oh my God. She left for 4 days to see a sister in Spain who had just had a baby. She had a right to work, but deported. Unbelievable. Honestly, Marza, that is exactly the Brexit mentality. That's what the Danny Krugers in the world want. They want us to suffer. They want us to have a bad time. They want us to be miserable and upset and angry and afraid, because that's what they bank on. You know, that they have all they have is simple dick-headed solutions to difficult problems. Just before I go on, I want to show you my postcard that I just received from Pitcairn Island. I have the best troll in the world. You think you've got a good troll, right? There's a guy called Matt who travels the world, and he goes to all the places that I never went to on the Odyssey expedition because they were territories of other countries. So Pitcairn Island's actually a British dependency, or British overseas, whatever. And the message on the back of this just says "arg." I know it's off him, but it just says "arg." Anyway, so I've got a nice Pitcairn Island stamp now. I've got about 15 of these from places around the world. That's most impressive, though. Pitcairn Island! My God. I wanted to do a show after I finished the Odyssey expedition called The Ones That Got Away, and it was going to be all like places like Pitcairn, French Guiana, Greenland, Antarctica, Easter Island, Galapagos, Ascension Island, St. Lucia. I went to St. Lucia, St. Helena. All the places I didn't go on the Odyssey expedition without flying. Maybe one day. Hughes says, my friend in North Florida, school teacher and assistant headmistress Sarah, she went back to junior school last Wednesday. She can't believe how much bullshit work British teachers have to do. Well, yeah, it's not just British teachers as well. I was thinking about this, the way that they've got like the police set up, that the police have to write up their notes, and it's like, why don't we employ more people working for the police doing admin, so the police can like get on with patrolling the streets and responding to crimes, rather than, they take that little notebook out and they've got to write, and then they've got to get back and write a report about it. And like half the time of a police person's life, say police officer's life, is spent doing like admin. It's ridiculous. And yeah, when it comes to teaching, I mean, it should be fairly straightforward. You do your lesson plans, you do your marking, but they put so much stuff on teachers nowadays. Where you're also head of pastoral care or head of the year, or you'll have all the responsibilities as well. And I do think it's a bit disingenuous the way people go, oh, they only work half the year. They don't. I've got friends who are teachers and they work bloody hard. So I think they deserve to be paid really well, because good teachers can change the course of a human's life. Bad teacher can as well. I always say you never forget a good teacher and you never forgive a bad one. Top of the world in the meantime, before Pitcairn says Pineapple Boy. Well, one of the reasons why I was late getting started today is I spent the whole weekend editing my old Odyssey videos. So don't worry, Pineapple, I'm getting back onto it. I'm getting back onto the horse, so to speak. I'm going to be updating the website as well. But I have a lot of responsibilities with Labour Social. And obviously this year is going to be crazy because we've got elections here, got elections in the US, got EU elections, got in India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. We've got elections in Russia in March. Foregone conclusion. It's going to be a year where there's going to be a lot of people talking about politics. So hopefully some people will come over here and we'll grow the channel a bit more and we'll get to a point where it's self-sustaining. And I won't have to say, hey, by the way, if you want to leave a chat, you have to subscribe. If you'd like to leave a super chat, that'd be awesome. I won't have to do that anymore. This should be good. So I'm going to just head over to the morning papers. I hope this works. I don't know if it's going to work. Yay! I had a moment then. I'm like, okay, I've changed the settings. It's not going to work. Okay, right, it works. So these are the newspapers for the 8th of January, which is today. The Times is having a go at the mentally ill today. The mentally ill, mental ill health driving surge in disability claims. Can you blame people? Can you blame people? The situation's a bit bleak at the moment. We have an existential threat to our existence. That's what existential means. We have an existential threat to humanity and all of life on Earth. And we've got absolute dickheads in charge. So it doesn't come as much of a surprise. Also, if you want to get yourself a diagnosis of ADHD or your child diagnosed on the autistic spectrum and therefore get the support that they really need, you've got to wait about 3 years now. That's the Tories. That is the Tories defunding everything. Defund the NHS. That's the Tories slogan. That's good. That I think I'll write that down because people say defund the police and everyone kicks off defund the NHS. And they say, oh, we're spending more money on it than ever before. Yeah, but that money's worth less than ever before. Oh, my God. Like, have a look at a Mars bar. We used to be able to get them for like 12p and they were massive. Now they're tiny and they're like £1.12. Yeah, seriously, like, things are more expensive now. So just saying you're spending more is not enough. You've got to be spending proportionately more than you were before. And you're not in any way, shape or form on the NHS. Khan bows to unions under, this is about Sadiq Khan, over the tube strikes, which have been resolved, I hope. And it's just, I used to have a go at Sadiq Khan saying, oh, he's weak because he's bowed to unions. No, he was negotiating with the unions and they've asked for a particular pay offer and, they've asked for a particular pay raise and he's made them a really generous offer, which is his job. Well, I don't think he's done it individually. I mean, his team have done it, but you know what I mean? Like, the government won't even negotiate with young doctors. The government won't even negotiate with other people going on strike. They're like, no, we're not going to talk to the teachers. We're going to talk to them. Whereas Sadiq Khan gets the job done, and he's made sure that everyone can get to work today, I assume. Thank you very much to Johnny Copperhead for the £5 super chat. Anyone remember Poggles Wood? Now, that must be a euphemism for something. I don't know. I remember Pob? He spat all over the camera. I never liked that. He looked like Michael Gove. That's who he looked like. Pob, was it? Pob? Looked like Michael Gove. Look it up. Type in Pob Children's TV and you'll see a picture of Michael Gove. And then there's a picture of Keir Starmer looking a bit silly with his football there. He's got a foot. It's like he's about to go. So they've got that photo and they've put that on the front of the Telegraph because they're desperate. Safe pair of hands. Piss off. And the Daily Mail is now on the side of the postmasters. Which is strange. I thought they'd be on the side of the people who defrauded the post office workers who did nothing wrong whatsoever, but still had to pay out massive fines that disappeared somewhere. I thought they'd be on their side. They usually are. And then we got the Star, as always, being really, 192 flood warnings. I mean, the Daily Star's a silly newspaper, but 192 flood warnings. How's your climate change going, eh? I can't stress this enough. If climate change upsets I know it's not called the Gulf Stream, technically. It's the North Atlantic currency, I don't know, cyclic currency thing. Let's just call it the Gulf Stream. I know that's not what it is, but let's just call it the Gulf Stream. That's the warm water coming from the Gulf of Mexico. If that shuts down, if that conveyor belt shuts down, Britain is going to learn, and the people in Britain are going to learn, in fact, in no uncertain terms, that we live on the same line of latitude as Lake Baikal. You know that frozen lake in Russia? You know the one that's frozen half the year? Yeah. So good job. Good luck trying to get to the post office under 16 feet of pure white snow, mate. Bloody hell. Esther's plea, but more licenses for oil and gas. Could be a big rebellion. I'll talk about that in a moment. But Esther's plea to nations is about euthanasia, and I hope that goes ahead. I really do. Tory part. This is one of the stories that I was talking about. This is Danny Kruger here in the Guardian. Top Tory says party faces obliteration in election. I thought I'd start Monday morning with a bit of good news, everybody. And then Idris Elba has done a piece in the Mirror about knife crime. And we've also got how many women like these must die before we tackle knife crime. That's in the Independent. And obviously, serious issue. But because the police have been underfunded, because the police that we've got are awful. Like, not all of them, obviously, but there's a lot of them who are not good police officers. The prisons are full. There's a backlog in the law system of about 17 years. People know that they'll probably get away with it. And that is shocking and horrific. And that is the result of how many years now? 17? No, it's 17 years. It's 14 years. 14 years of Tory mismanagement of everything that they could possibly mismanage. And then the Financial Times there, investigators probe Boeing safety after mid-air crisis. This is the story about the Boeing 737 MAX that for Air Alaska, that literally the emergency door blew out on it. And it was only a few weeks old, like it was a brand new plane. And never had to ground the whole fleet. And this is the same plane that the autopilot took over and caused two of them to nosedive, one in Ethiopia and one off the coast of Indonesia, both of them killing everybody on board. Boeing putting shareholders' profits above safety concerns, which is going to be their demise, probably, hopefully. Let's see. Right, back to Big Graham. Hello. So what I was going to mention is the fact that the Tories facing obliteration is something that we should all be looking forward to. But at least some Tories are now actually taking it seriously. Alok Sharma has resigned as a Tory MP. And over this bill that's being presented today, there might be more. People just, what's the point? What's the point now? If you're a Tory MP, you've got a slender majority of maybe a couple hundred, if that. You're out of a job. As soon as this parliament ends, you are out of a job. Are you even going to bother? Are you even going to bother campaigning? What's the point? I mean, you're not going to win. You're literally not going to win. And the Tories bloody know it. So you might start seeing the Tory just party panic, hopefully, and start ripping itself apart, hopefully. And the vote today could be a good indicator of what we're going to see going forward this year. I mean, Rishi Sunak's not had the best of starts of the year. And with Alex Sharma, not Alex Sharma, sorry, it's not Alex Sharma who's resigned. It's Skidmore. Chris Skidmore, is it? Oh, Christ. Sorry, Skidmore has resigned. No one's picked me up on the chat of that yet. You normally love it when I make mistakes. Chris Skidmore has resigned, and therefore there'll be a by-election in his constituency. There's also a Tory MP, the Tory MP for Blackpool North. We've already had the Tory MP for Blackpool South, Scott Benton, out on his ear, but now the MP for Blackpool North is facing allegations of impropriety and using funds for the what should be taxpayer funded stuff for his constituency. He's been using it to promote himself and the Tory party, which is really bad. So Paul Maynard. Sorry, I was just looking up the name while I was trying to talk there. Unfortunately, the Times is behind a paywall, which is really annoying. Paul Maynard, who's been accused of misappropriating funds over £100,000 worth, I believe. I might be wrong. Skid mark. I'm sure there are plenty of nutters who are still part of the Corby cult. I think that's how you spell it. I was thinking about that today. I was reading that awful story about that cult in Nigeria, in which people were just had the most horrific things done to them, and no one believed people. And there were stories about stuff getting reported, like the British Embassy doing absolutely in Nigeria doing nothing about it. And this went on for years. Abuse on a scale just unbelievable. Well, I mean, the sad fact is that we know what cults are like, and we know what people are prepared to do in their cult. And I can't help but feel, nowhere near as extreme, I guess, but when it comes to Brexit and when it comes to Corbyn, in the last few years, they're the times that I've actually been assaulted or threatened with assault, have been arguing with people over those two things. And the emotions that those two issues stir up with people it's scary. It honestly scares the crap out of me, because otherwise reasonable people just take their brain out and just pure emotion, pure anger, or this feeling that they're having something taken away from them. They're having their shiny special thing taken away from them by evil people like me. And when I try and explain that, just like communism under the Soviets could never work, it just couldn't work. And people were saying, oh, well, actually just communism in general, it like capitalism, they both fail to accommodate for human psychology. However, capitalism can be reined in somewhat, whereas communism is more totalitarian in that respect. So we can have a socialist system that operates within a capitalist system and just keeps the capitalism, at a certain level, and doesn't let the market decide everything, because that way madness lies. And in the same way that people who are, avowed communists, who after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the destruction of the Iron Curtain, they or the opening of the Iron Curtain, they'll say, oh, but communism would work. It's just never been tested properly. It's never had its chance. If you only gave communism a chance. And I'm thinking, that's exactly what I hear from Brexiteers and from Corbynites. Oh, if you only gave them a chance, we're doing Brexit. We have done Brexit. If it was going to be good for the economy, it would have been good by now. It is not. It is absolutely awful for our economy, and it's cost over £1 trillion so far. It's going to cost trillions more by the end of all this nonsense, by the time we rejoin the single market, the customs union, and eventually the EU, because that's what's going to happen. It's inevitable. It is literally inevitable. We are going to do that. It might take a long time, and it might need a lot of people to come on board with the idea, and it might need a lot of things to be put in place before we do it, but it will happen. And the same with Corbyn. He had 2 chances at a general election. And he lost both. One to Theresa May. And at the end of it, he went, yeah, it was obvious who won that election. And I'm like, no, what? Anyway, so, yeah, the point being that same sort of cult mentality of just taking away your critical faculties and just believing, because it's easy. It's lazy. That's what it is. It's lazy intellectualism. It's like, I can't be arsed with these difficult problems. I want a simple solution. I want a magic grandpa. I want a magic Brexit. I want a magic communist state that fixes everything that comes along. The Nazis fell for the same shit. I'm not equating those things with the Nazis per se. I'm just saying they gave easy solutions to difficult problems, platitudes, rather than actually things that we could do to make people's lives better. Anyway, so yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning when I was reading about that cult in Nigeria. I don't think the two things are particularly connected, but, that's the way my brain works. Right, JC is our saviour. He is perfect, says number 3. Corbyn walked out on, sorry, I haven't worked out what? Have you heard that Peter Bone's partner is a new candidate for his seat? This is in Wellingborough, isn't it? Yeah, Peter Bones' girlfriend. I mean, seriously, how does Peter Bone have a girlfriend? Have you seen him? Peter Bone's girlfriend is going to be running for the Tory seat. And I just don't know if they're trolling now. Not as good as my troll in Pitcairn Island. Mate, I mean, just what are they doing? I think they just know they're not going to win, so they're like, oh, sod it. Let's make a bit of money on the side. Brexit is a bit of dog muck sprayed with gold paint, and they've been convinced it's real. Sadly, they're not going to notice until they squeeze their precious lol. That's some Blue Badger. But it is. Lee Court says, climate change deniers are the same. It's easier to ignore the evidence than face up to it. I mean, yeah, it's lazy. It's lazy. It is the lazy solution. It's like, I can't be arsed thinking critically. You know, why have a brain if you're not going to use it? Do you know what I mean? Like, just think about stuff. Just take a moment to just consider the evidence. Imagine you're on a jury for a trial and you've got to consider the evidence. You can't just sit there and go, oh, I just want the easy solutions. I don't want to have to think about it. You know, that way is not the way to do so. And if you look at the way Labour are putting themselves across, they're trying to be more sort of intellectual. They're trying to be more, which it doesn't go down that well with politics. I know it doesn't, but it is what we need right now. It's absolutely, have a think about what you're doing and how you're doing it and what the consequences of what you're doing are going to be. And if you can't justify your position any better than, oh, it would be great if it wasn't for X, Y, Z, then, you know, nothing I can do for you. Corbyn wrongly blamed Brexit for the 2019 result. Well, the Corbynites do that all the time. It really pisses me off. They're like, oh, but if we hadn't said that we're going to have a second referendum. I'm like, you got 14% in the EU elections in 2019, in the May elections. You got 19%. Sorry, 14. 14% they got. I'm sorry, what? And that was before you decided to pivot to get a second referendum. In the actual election itself, you got nearly 40%. So there you have a massive swing to Labour compared with where they were in the EU elections in just a space of 6 months by saying we'll have a second referendum. So the idea that that's what cost them the election is for the better, because they know what the real reason that cost them the 2019 election and the 2017 election. It was Jeremy fucking Corbyn. Sorry for swearing, but, you know, that's just the reality of it. And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. But if you can come up with some evidence to show me that that's not the right thing that happened, when we have seen all the evidence to suggest that, yeah, he was deeply, deeply, deeply unpopular. And they go, oh, yeah, but that was because of the media. Mate, the media just put a picture of Starmer, like, trying to head a ball like an idiot. I mean, do you think they didn't have it out for Starmer? They had him on the front cover of the Mail for a week saying, oh, he had a beer. That's just as bad as Partygate. He had a beer. That's what's going to happen to any Labour leader. They're going to be attacked by the tabloids. But don't get them ammunition. That's my top tip. Anyway, to watch for shy Tories. Well, you know, the Tories have done a very good job of wiping their own out over the last few years, especially with COVID. Dickheads. Anyway, right, I've got to go. Things to do, places to be. Right, I'm going to leave you in the safe capable hands of James O'Brien on LBC. There will be a moment of truth going up later today. And if you are a member of this channel, you'll be able to get a sneak preview before everybody else. Because if you're a member, you get to see it as soon as it is uploaded. Whereas if you are not a member, you have to wait till 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever time I set to make the video go live. Anyway, so Phil Morehouse will be here in the morning, tomorrow morning, for another morning brew. And maybe we might do a swear jar tonight with Super Tansky, but we'll have to see. Right, okay, so Peter Bone is still married, but his mistress is standing, not his wife. How's that for conservative family values? Oh my God, I didn't even know that. Wow. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Oh, but the headbangers pretend they don't hate Starmer because he's an establishment man. Missed the part where he tried to lock up the entire media establishment over Millie Dowler. Yeah, he did when he was director of public prosecutions. That's why the tabloids hate him more than probably they hated Corbyn. I think you can get away with Jeremy fucking Corbyn. I think Jezza and Sir Keith have a long time agreement to take the total piss out of the Tory press. Bye, Graham, from Hugh. Right, thanks for sticking with us from the beginning there, Hugh. And until next time, I'll say thanks for all the chat. Thanks for the super chats. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.